the Rangers beat the
They won.
Flyers.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah. To tie that series.
Absolutely.
So
That's it, isn't it?
That's it.
Okay, Warner Walsh here in the Emerson Wayne program.
I'm going to fight for the prestige, not for me, but to uplift my little brothers who are sleeping in concrete floors today in America. Black people who are living on welfare. Black people who can't eat. Black people who don't know no knowledge of themselves.
The late General George S. Patton.
At ease. We are about to have us a little seminar, people, on how to display your military honors and deal with agenda-driven, coddled correspondence of television journalism. Now, right here, people, on my uniform is a medal I hold most dear. One I hope each of you earns one day. The DKA-NNA, or the Distinguished Kick-a-Nosy Newsman's Ass Award, which I am really not eligible to display as yet, but I will be as soon as I catch up with David Martin of CBS.
Yeah.
Mr. Martin is the military maligning moron who conveniently failed to mention in his report questioning the validity of two of Colonel David Hackworth's decorations that Hack received them because the damned Army gave them to him, unsolicited. And probably through the fault of some horn-ribbed, CBS-looking son of a bitch who, while wearing a doily for undershorts, pushed the wrong requisition form across his damn desk. A clerical error. Did Mr. Martin mention that?
Sir, no, he did not, sir.
I can't hear you.
No, he gave Hack the shaft, sir.
And just one more reason I love my beautiful Army and wish I could personally repeal the First Amendment in the following manner. There is the CBS logo, Private. What does it resemble?
A bullseye target, sir.
Well, warms this old soldier's heart.
Dead soldier's heart, sir.
Fine. And this latest CBS debacle comes on the heels of the CBS insult to former Marine Don Imus, asserting that Imus had apologized to our lip-biting, bimbo-banging commander-in-chief for some inappropriate remarks. He never did. He never will. But what was the response from the CBS management individual in charge, Bud Carey? That Imus's remarks still sounded like an apology to him, which is why I am wearing this other medal for which I am about to become eligible, the Distinguished KAESA, awarded for kicking an empty suit's ass. Why doesn't the Globe tabloid put a tail on Mr. Carey to find out what bathhouse he favors? Now then, let us conclude with an object lesson, people, in why we give only name, rank, and serial number when faced with getting caught. And then we put a sock on it. Gifford, Frank, Lee, Kathy, textbook examples of the consequences of not knowing when to shut up. Screaming in indignation when first confronted with Frank Boff and the Babe, and then being forced to eat every self-righteous vowel and consonant when the Boff and the Babe video hit the stores. People, in addition to name, rank, and serial number, never complain, never explain. Sadly, that was not the case with Gifford Frank, old number 16. Caught on camera with right hand clutching left flank of Do It To Me Susan, as we discovered that Gift's serial number ended in 69. Thank you for your attention. That is all.
20 minutes till the hour here in the Emerson Wayne program. Well, a couple of notes. We learned that...
Imus in the morning.
Hey, Bubba, check out this copy of the Globe. It's got pictures of a famous dude cheating on his wife.
What? Oh, Jesus, how'd they get the... Oh, you scared me for a minute, Beavis. That's just Frank Gifford, Kathy Lee's husband.
That annoying chick from TV who pays those Mexican beanie babies 2.5 cents an hour to make her hideous sports shirt?
Uh-huh. She sets my teeth on edge sometimes, but she also makes my knees knock. I'd go on a cruise with her in a heartbeat. Boy, I'll tell you what, ain't we got fun.
Simmer down before I turn the hose on you. What is it with you married dudes being so horny all the time?
I don't know. Hormones? Matter of fact, I made quite a few of them moan myself.
Why do some guys find it necessary to run around on their wives?
Well, it ain't like most of them sit down and plan ahead to commit adultery, you know, like I do. But I guess a man's got needs, Beavis, and if you have an irritating, droning, self-centered, shrieking shrew of a wife, you know, like I do, well, you gotta look elsewhere. It's real common among men.
Imus doesn't run around on his wife.
Well, that's my point. She's none of the above. I tell you, if the gods had smiled on me and I were married to her, you couldn't get me out of the house.
yeah. Besides, if you did, she'd kick your ass. I just can't believe how a decrepit prostate case like Frank Gifford gets a hot steaming chick in the first place.
Well, Beavis, I suppose it's a matter of two things. Power and celebrity.
That explains you, but what about Frank Gifford?
Well, that's the third thing. He must be hung like a first down marker. over to the Live with Regis and Kathy Lee studios. I think Mrs. Gifford may need a little consoling.
I wonder.
Imus in the morning.
Paid political announcement. Here, speaking on behalf of the Excuse Another Kennedy Preservation Society, the senior senator from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Honorable Edward M. Kennedy.
I'll have to call you back. I don't care what you're wearing. I'm about to go on the air here.
Senator.
Really? The frilly one with,
No.
with the Velcro and the...
Senator, we're on the air.
Huh? Oh, yes. Just discussing a matter of women's wear manufacture with a constituent, yes. Now, as doubtless you are aware at this juncture, the curse of Camelot continues to hover menacingly over members of my family. Not a day goes by, it seems, that something isn't written or broadcast concerning a Kennedy either getting divorced, getting married, getting something annulled, or getting laid. You, the voting public, wonder why. The answer is simple. We are rich, cavalier in our attitudes toward the little people. You make a great pretense of caring for our fellow man, especially the downtrodden and disadvantaged, but in fact could not possibly care less, with the exceptions of the Shrivers, Tim and his mother Eunice, who do seem to be genuine in their work with those of our society who are missing the toy surprise from their Happy Meal. Beyond that, the Kennedy family, to be candid, has no redeeming social value, and would be just another clan of alcoholic micks being unceremoniously thrown out of bars if we didn't own the bars, either in fact or in effect, through our enormous political clout, obtained immorally through the ill-gotten gains of our father, Joe. Now, I rise in defense of two members of the younger Kennedy generation who are carrying forward the traditions of previous generations. Joseph Kennedy II, the congressman, and Michael Kennedy I, the creep. Joseph, a true blockhead, cannot remember with precision what he knew of Michael's affair with a 14-year-old babysitter, or when he knew it. Joseph himself is the subject of negative publicity for trading in one wife for another and seeking to have marriage one erased in favor of validating marriage two. As for my own history with the other gender, well, the record speaks for itself. Exactly. I have tried to examine carefully our common Kennedy problem that has plagued so many in our family across the years. My late brother John, my late brother Bobby, myself, Joe, Michael, Willie, and all the rest. I have been led to one conclusion as the basis of our difficulties. Erectile tissue, coupled to a complete inability to keep our barn doors closed. And so, let the word go forth from this time and place that the torch has been passed to a new generation. My nephews Michael and Joe, who are courageously carrying forward the Kennedy philosophy that time heals all wounds, though not as fast as money. And our oldest, most cherished family maxim that a Kennedy, even though caught in the sack with a babysitter, erected, could run for office in Massachusetts and still get elected. Thank you.
The preceding paid for by the Excuse Another Kennedy Preservation Society and the Democratic National Committee, both wholly owned subsidiaries of the People's Republic of China.
I've got a never-ending love for you. From now on, that's all I will do. From the first time we met, I knew I'd have a never-ending love for you.
Imus in the morning.
Well, there are certain things.
2020 sports. You can hear Breen and the Bean. The rest is obscene.
Stockton rebound, 3 seconds. Stockton 1 second fire, a 40-footer. He got it. John Stockton.
Utah takes game one. Good morning. Mike Brainwood Sports. Hot Rod Hundley the call. KFNZ Radio in Salt Lake City. Not that anyone cares about the NBA playoffs, but the Western Conference Finals began in Utah last night, and the Jazz ripped the Rockets anew. Well, they beat them handily, 101-86.
Our Houston Rockets. How about getting on a bandwagon here? Drainpipe neck.
Houston coach Rudy Tomjanovich was very upset after the loss.
We didn't have the concentration or the
Focus.
physical aggressiveness it took to win this game.
What's the matter with him? Is he drunk?
It's a little drained, I suppose, after the loss.
Jesus. It's not like he played, you know. Not like Kermit Washington hit him again, is it? Come back to us.
Beat up tomorrow night back in Utah. Tonight, Eastern Conference Finals, Bulls at Heat game one.
Sound like Fred. Bulls and who?
Bulls and Heat. Bulls and Heat.
Bulls,
Miami Heat.
Miami Heat, right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Alonzo Mourning,
Came from 3-1 down to whoop up on the Knicks.
Tim Hardaway,
Programming note, who are an undisciplined, immature team, as reflected in this morning's editorial page of the New York Times. Programming note. What's the programming note, Mike?
Tomorrow on the Imus in the Morning Show, we'll have a special retrospective on the 96-97 Knicks entitled Heroes to the End, complete with player interviews, highlights, and a special farewell song written by yours truly. NHL Western Conference Finals, Detroit Red Wings win, beat the Avalanche 2-1, lead that series 2-1. And who's the hottest team in baseball? The New York Mets. 3 games over 500 for the first time in 5 years. They beat the Colorado Rockies yesterday on a dramatic 9th-inning homer from John Olerud. And Armando Reynoso almost threw a no-hitter.
After 5 innings, I start thinking, well, I've been doing a good job, so I just have to try to keep that good job. Don't lose my concentration.
Sounds a bit like Jeff Greenfield. Sounds like really Tom Janovich.
Sounds like you. Mets yesterday also officially announced Kevin McCarthy as the new stadium manager at Shea Stadium.
So pull the rest of your hair out. It won't take long.
That's as funny as the Kermit Washington reference, but 59,000 times.
That's sports. Mike Breen. And here now on the Imus in the Morning program with his commencement address for the graduating class of 1997, live from the Nervous Hospital, Billy Bob Thornton.
I reckon you want to know what's going to happen now. Y'all done graduated, got your college education. Now you're wondering what you're going to do with your lives. I reckon now that y'all got your sheepskin, some people call them diplomas, I call them sheepskins. I reckon y'all are expecting to go out in the world and get some job pays you 6 figures. Move back home with your mama and daddy till you get it. Well, I got some good news, and I got some bad news. See how your mama and daddies are crying? They ain't a-crying because they're so proud you finally graduated. They's a-crying because they had to borrow $100,000 put you through university. Money they don't know how they's gonna pay back. Because a lot of them don't have jobs no more. Since all them companies they used to work for downsize them. But them same companies now realize they downsized a bit too much. So they need folks to work for them. But your mom and daddy's too old, so you won't have no trouble getting yourself a job. Matter of fact, you may actually end up with that job your mama and daddy used to have before they got downsized. But here's the bad news. Seeing as how you're going to be the one working, your mamas and daddies will be moving in with you. Now, it may take a while for you to move up the corporate ladder and you make them 6 figures. Some people call it a career advancement. I call it moving up a corporate ladder. I hear it say that you girls would have more trouble doing that. But I think you girls got a better chance even than fellers. But not with that sheepskin. With a lambskin.
Shut up.
Sheepskin comes in a frame you hangs on the wall in your office.
Yeah.
Lambskin comes in a little fall package. You give to your boss when he bangs you on the desk in your office. Then you frame him and hang him. And eventually, you'll get his office. And then he'll be the one who's a-crying.
All right. Here's Rush Limbaugh.
Liberals are just like commies. You can't tell them apart. Think they're so progressive when they're all just big bleeding hearts. Tax the hard workers to give money to parasites that they never have to repay. Tell illegal aliens it's quite all right to be on welfare from cradle to grave. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Don't let them start programs for social reform. Be narrow-minded to those who don't conform. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Cause economy crunches with all their free lunches. They're giving the country away. Liberals like government handouts and hidden agendas. Like dropping trowel in hotel rooms with girls of the night. want to give it all up to the hopelessly needy. So if you don't want your young kids being left out, see that they stay to the right. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. They love homos and Negroes and Hebrews and such. They rob from the rich, think that we have too much. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Cause economy crunches with all their free lunches. They're giving the country away. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Don't let them start programs for social reform. Be narrow-minded to those who don't conform. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Cause Bubba and Hillary are both prime examples, and they're giving our country away.
This is the
Tomorrow.
Don't know where things went wrong. Might have been when you were young and strong. American treat me. American treat me. Imus in the morning.
It's very funny how the distance between people isn't necessarily a function of mileage. Sometimes.
All right, here's who? Bill Clinton. Go, baby. People try to put me down. Talking about those generations, but I don't need a walker to get around. Talking about those generations. One thing's for sure, if they should talking about those generations. He could easily die before he gets in. Talking about those generations. Bob Dole's generation, baby. Why don't he know he's passing? Probably can't hear a single word I say. They've all had them prostate operations. Talking Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation, baby. Go, baby. Been a century since they been born. Have to take out their teeth to eat creamed corn. Plagued by chronic constipation. Talking Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation, baby. Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation. Bob Dole's generation. They'll never be as cool as us. Talking Bob Dole's generation. 'Cause you can't look hip when you wear a truck. mom's old generation. My mom's old generation. Talking mom's old generation. Talking mom's old generation.
Oh, thank God, man, we saved this stuff. Man, these computers are great, aren't they? Tomorrow, a Weasel-free Wednesday on the Imus Morning program, and then on Thursday, John Kennedy Jr. and Tony Kornheiser on Friday.
Imus in the morning.
Can you?
Getting late afternoon clouds with the high today in the mid-60s, partly cloudy upper 40s tonight. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, 65, and fair mid-70s on Friday. 52 degrees, though, right now at 34 minutes after the hour.
You know when you go to get a tattoo removed?
Yeah.
That morning, there's a lot of pressure on you. You wonder if you're going to work out well.
Mm-hmm.
Jane's going through some of that pressure right now.
She's having a tattoo removed?
Yeah.
What a tattoo where?
The one on her derriere.
That would be fine. Jane has a tattoo on her derriere?
She has more than one. But she's having one removed this morning.
How is it that you know this?
I thought everybody knew this.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
You do seem shaky, though. I mean,
Do I? Yeah, this morning.
This morning you seem shaky.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, you
Yes, as for tattoos on my butt, I don't have any anymore.
Oh, you had it removed yesterday.
certainly have room.
Man.
Don't no pride.
I'm sorry. You are a 6-foot ass.
What did you have?
Man. Hi, man.
Battleship?
An aircraft carrier?
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Imus in the morning. 2020 sports.
Winds down to a minute. Jordan attacks the glass and got the roll. Michael Jordan. 36 points. 81-74.
Bulls take game one. Good morning, Mike Breen with sports. Brent Musburger with the call on ESPN Radio. Bulls overcome a 15-point deficit, beat the Miami Heat 84-77 at the United Center in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Air Hog with 37 points. Jordan scoring much in the second half. But even though the team won, the Bulls struggled again. And Jordan made a startling admission.
Well, I don't think we're going to win the championship.
Jordan saying although they'll get past the Heat, they have no shot versus either the Jazz or the Rockets. That's the team they would face in the NBA Finals. Jazz and Rockets play again tonight in Utah. In that best-of-7 series, Jazz took game one there. NHL playoffs, Rangers lose 6-3 to the Flyers at the Garden. Now trail the series 2-1. But Mark Messier very upbeat after the loss.
We're really confident. I can tell you that for sure. We really feel good about the way we're playing.
Messier did take a hard shot in the head in the second period, which could possibly explain the comments there.
Maybe he can get Marv's wig when Marv goes to jail.
In golf, Fuzzy Zeller and Tiger Woods finally met face-to-face yesterday. Their first meeting since Zeller's racially insensitive remarks after the Masters. And Fuzzy was raving after the meeting.
That's something I have been waiting on for 3.5, 4 weeks now, and yeah, it makes me feel good. Again, he's a quality guy. I can't say anything bad about him.
Oh, no, I wouldn't know. Did they have lunch, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. What did they have for lunch, I wonder? They didn't specify the menu.
Really?
Little bucket of chicken.
Probably.
Watermelon for dessert, yo.
The two playing together at a tournament this weekend at Fort Worth, Texas. Fuzzy's actually requested to carry Tiger's bag throughout the tournament.
What does Marv work with on these? If he was doing the Bullets, what game was he doing? The Bullets.
On
Chicago.
back on April 30th. Yeah.
So who would he be working with?
John Andres is his partner on the MSG network.
No, on the national.
on the NBC deal.
Matt Gukas.
But Matt would be driving the white Bronco.
So would it be? Well, we don't know. We don't know whether it was the. We don't know anything, do we?
No, we don't.
We talked to Lubica yet?
Not yet, no.
No, we'll give him time to get up and we'll get
Right, but still
All right.
baseball.
And finally, in baseball, Reds manager Ray Knight suspended for 3 games by the National League because of a tirade after a loss in Saturday's game. Called for inappropriate behavior. Knight at one point, because upset of the third base umpire's call, picked up third base and slammed it down to the ground like a grown adult, and then stormed off the field. So he'll miss the next 3 games for the struggling Reds, who have the worst record in the major leagues. And that's sports. I'm Mike Breen.
When your pubic hair's on fire, something's wrong. When you think you're the
behalf of the Kennedy Absolution Society of America. Here now, the Honorable Edward M. Kennedy.
Hello, this is Ted Kennedy. I am appearing today for the Kennedy Absolution Society to say a personal thank you. A thank you to my nephew, Michael Kennedy, my nephew, Congressman Joe Kennedy, to the father of Michael's wife, Victoria, the sportscaster Frank Gifford, and to our nation's very first double-breasted mattress thrasher B-52 pilot, Lieutenant Kelly Flynn. For all of these fine Americans are serving right now to further distract attention from my own long history involving distressed damsels, dalliances, indiscretions, and drownings. To all of you, my deepest gratitude. Even though, as I think about it, perhaps not so much to my idiot nephew, Michael, since actually his inability to keep his hands off anything with 2 X chromosomes and a heartbeat, including the 14-year-old babysitter, does tend to cause people to re-examine me, such as those bastards at the Boston Herald with their catty comments about my family. The columnist Marjorie Egan specifically comes to mind in that regard. Perhaps the slandering slattern would like to join this senator for a dune buggy ride one day. Oh, and Margie, bring a towel. Be that as it may, I must confess I am troubled by the current climate in our country that has fostered tolerance of these unseemly situations. Michael hosing the help. Joe dumping wives like he was trying to avoid drop-off charges on a rental car lease. Mr. Gifford caught on tape bitching about my babysitter bopping nephew between groans himself as he plowed new ground. Debauching poor Kathy Lee in the same manner Michael was debauching Frank's daughter, Victoria, whose name is the same as that of my wife, Victoria Reggie, who I drilled after I jettisoned my wife, Joan. Jesus, Deep Blue couldn't keep track of all this because it can only calculate 200 million moves a second. Far less capacity than required to keep up with the past couple of weeks of who's zooming who. So, let the word go forth from this time and place. Ask not which Kennedy is doing what to whom. Note simply that it's not me for a change. And note further that the mystical Kennedy name and the not-so-mystical Kennedy cash will doubtless work their magic one more time, so that we Kennedys will soon be able to say, in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. After all, what is power if not a commodity for abuse? And to that end, note well the following, for this is just the way it is. In our military governmental hierarchy, when one is a woman and gets caught in a compromising situation, one is called a philandering, rutting hussy. When one is a man and gets caught in such circumstances, one is called the commander-in-chief, or from time to time, the senior senator from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
You know when you're going to get a tattoo removed?
Yeah.
That morning there's a lot of pressure on you. Wonder if you're going to work out well. Jane's going through some of that pressure right now.
She's having a tattoo removed?
Yeah.
A tattoo where?
The one on her derriere.
That would be fine.
Jane has a tattoo on her derriere? She has more than one. But she's having one removed this morning.
How is it that you know this?
I thought everybody knew this.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
You do seem shaky, though. I mean,
Do I? Yeah, this morning.
This morning you seem shaky.
Yes.
Well, no. I mean, you
Yes, as for tattoos on my butt, I don't have any anymore.
Oh, you had it removed yesterday?
certainly have room.
Don't cry. Oh, God almighty.
I'm sorry,
You are a six-foot ass.
What did you have?
Man. Hi, man.
Battleship?
An aircraft carrier?
I'll be back.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
This summer, the buck stops at your...
Hey, notice, Howard.
Yeah, I know that.
Listen, could you hold that book of yours up to the microphone again? I wasn't able to hear the rocks clearly enough the first time. You know, I saw a copy of this thing, and it made me cry.
Yeah.
Not because I was touched, but because I know how much money you're going to make off this thing. Got JFK Jr. tomorrow?
Pardon me?
You have JFK Jr. tomorrow?
Yeah.
Got the thing in George magazine all wrong? Gee, how unusual for a Kennedy to get something wrong.
Well...
What do you expect? This is the kid who brought Cliff Notes into the room with him and still couldn't pass a bar.
That'll be fine.
Hey, these Frank Gifford and Marv Albert deals or something, huh?
Well...
I know the Temptations there to make jokes about him, but you can't forget there's real victims here. Cassie Lee, this woman in Arlington. To me, the real tragedy is having to admit you actually had sex with Marv Albert and Frank Gifford.
It's 8 minutes till the hour here on the Imus in the Morning program.
Robert W. Morgan.
All right, here now, Media Watch. Probing the organ of the press for signs of distress, broadcast veteran and media commentator, Walter Cronkite. And more disarray today in the House of the Mouse, Disney, whose once shining corridors hang dank with the dew of dismay. For now, it's time to put it in writing. Yes, here come the Get Even books. Hitting the stores, Ovitz, the authorized biography of one-time master of the universe, Michael Ovitz, superest of the super agents, hired by Disney and groomed as a successor to none other than his old friend of 25 years, Disney CEO Michael Eisner. But then, after but a year in service, left a eunuch by Mr. Eisner, who, rumor has it, keeps what he excised from Mr. Ovitz in a jar of formaldehyde on his desk, a jar with a smiley face on it. In the book, Ovitz complains that Eisner signed him as president of Disney, and then gave him exactly nothing to do. No decisions, no input, no counsel, no nothing. Ovitz and the reader left wondering what the all that was about, and why it wound up costing Disney $128 million to take him on and then get him out. Could it be, Ovitz seems to ask, that Eisner's an imbecile? Or is it just that he, Ovitz, is an individual with about as much likability as Mobutu Sese Seko's diseased prostate gland, who flew into Disney with his nose in the air and his head you-know-where, issuing as his first executive directive that his offices be redecorated and that bigger potted palms be planted, or somebody's going to be walking out of here at 5 p.m. carrying their ass in their hands. 2 words, Mr. Ovitz. Shut up. Your job was to groom the mouse, not gild your house. Get out. Nobody cares. Indeed, the only positive here is that the Ovitz-Eisner spike match was a colossal catastrophe for Disney, and now leaves 2 old friends with their fangs poised above each other's jugulars. And it doesn't get any better than that. No. Well, maybe a little. Look for Eisner's rebuttal book from Random House this fall. And speaking of rebuttal material, is it any wonder everybody hates the press? Recall the sensational series from the San Jose Mercury News about our CIA being in league with Nicaraguan drug dealers to push crack cocaine down the throat of urban America? Sure. Well, now the Mercury News says sheepishly, well, you can't believe everything you read in the papers. All that was wrong with its series, the news explains, was that it was poorly researched, poorly written, inadequately substantiated, edited by an idiot, and packaged to play to the folks who stockpile ammonia nitrate and diesel fuel while demanding Iowa be given back to the Indians. Indeed, the only dark alliance I sense here might be between the Mercury News and the caterwauling California Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who had screamed, wild-eyed, that the CIA was on a mission to destroy people of color, and who now says that the paper's admission of a bullshit story will not change her mind one iota. Good. And that leads this old haggard, antique arbiter of the events that alter and illuminate to suggest to Ms. Waters that she might want to get off the pipe herself. Come on, baby. Just say no. For Media Watch, this is Walter Cronkite. Thank you and good night.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Imus in the morning.
President of the United States, Bill Clinton, take a walk on the wild side.
Read a little item about Michael Kennedy, who ain't exactly the model for celibacy. Though his uncle treats a car like a submarine, he never dunked a girl under 17. Mike said, hey, Ted, take a walk on the child side. He said, Uncle, try the juvenile side. Then there's a story about Mikey's brother, Joe, whose ex-wife thinks he's an evil so-and-so. He says when married life starts to get dull, just find another babe, get the Pope to annul. He said, hey, babe, take a walk on the goodbye side. Get lost, babe. Here's a kick for your backside. And the Kennedy girls sing. Frank Gifford, the philandering husband to Kathy Lee, went cruising by himself for an extramarital spree. Right in the middle of hidden camera week, Giff showed up in a video, even Regis freaked. Hey, Giff, you walking on the senile side. Better get used to being on that exile side. Then there was that B-52 pilot. Took the military code about adultery and defiled it. It says you face court-martial if you act like a whore. She never should have opened up her Bombay doors. Hey, babe, there goes your fly-by side. Hey, Lieutenant, better zip up that fly side. 'Cause way back when I was the governor, Wasn't happy less I had a babe and I was loving her. Baby days, around my knees, asked Paula to kiss it. I even said please. I said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey sugar beet, walk on that testify side. Monoconies go. Do it, 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 do it. Well, you're not gonna do it. Well, let me blow this.
When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it. And didn't inhale, and never tried it again. I experimented with marijuana, and I didn't like it.
Have you ever heard of North Fork Bank? Well, I've been...
Baseball that makes you sick to your stomach. It made me sick to my stomach. Yeah. In real baseball from the Bronx, another example that the Red Sox made the right decision regarding Roger Clemens. Clemens playing now for the Toronto Blue Jays, beat the Yankees 4-1. Clemens now just 8-0 with a 1.86 ERA. But to be fair to the Red Sox, they've done just fine without him. They lost yesterday 10-5 to Chicago, sit in last place in the American League East with the worst record in the American League.
That will be fine. We don't delight in the misfortunes of the Boston Red Sox.
And from NASCAR,
Drainpipe neck.
Jeff Gordon won the pole position for this weekend's Coca-Cola 500 in North Carolina. Okay. And that's sports. I'm Mike Breen.
It's 25 after the hour, and I am Imus the one. John Kennedy is the co-founder. Here now, live from Arlen, Texas, King of the Hill, Hank Hill.
You cheating heart will make you weep. You'll cry and try to sleep. I've always been of the mind that you can't spend too much time, effort, or money on your kids. Unless, of course, they end up turning out like Frank Gifford and Marv Albert. Is it me, or does it seem like sportscasters are replacing postal workers on the list of whack jobs? First it was O.J., then Giff, now Marv. What's this world coming to? Next thing you know, we're going to hear that John Madden went berserk and killed the manager of an Ace Hardware store with a weed whacker. Or that Harry Carey is one of those leather freaks secretly married to Vin Scully, which I suppose wouldn't be all that bad so long as they were faithful to each other. Because that's another thing. Seems like this adultery deal is all I hear about lately. That flying floozy from the Air Force, Frank Gifford, the President of the United States. Although Marv Albert didn't technically commit adultery, at the time he wasn't even engaged to the woman who he cheated on his first wife with. He was still in a relationship with her when he decided to bite that poor Arlington woman like a burrito after she refused to swallow his chimichanga. You ask me, if you're stooping to cheating on your mistress, it probably wouldn't hurt to put a little more saltpeter in your guacamole. This kind of stuff only makes me more and more convinced that we're all going to hell in a riding mower. These horny commentator guys should seriously start thinking about getting a hold of their genitalia. Not in the literal sense. That's their problem in the first place. But from where I'm sitting, if they spent less time having illicit sex with libertine trollops and more time working on their lawns, they'd be a hell of a lot better off. Frank Gifford could greatly benefit by doing something more constructive with himself, like receding. Because I've seen those pictures in the Globe, and frankly, he is receding from about the eyebrows back. I guess it's too late for Marv Albert. He's already given up and gone for that AstroTurf years ago. Well, I gotta go. My wife and I are going to share in the most beautiful spiritual pursuit that two loving, consenting adults can do with each other. Weeding the azalea beds. She said, I'm gonna hire a wino to decorate our home, so you feel more at ease here, and you won't need to roam. We'll take out the dining room table and put a bar along that wall, and a neon sign will point the way to our bathroom down the hall. Imus in the morning.
Last thing you need in your wallet is another phone number. Well, here's good news. Super 8 Motel's number. Influential broadcaster until, Paul Harvey.
Hello, Americans. Stand by for news. And as always, the rest of the story. Main Street Mister and Main Street Madam, what in heaven's name is going on here? Every time we think we've raised the scandal bar high enough so that no one could possibly get over the thing, somebody comes along and clears it by a country mile.
Yeah.
Dateline, Arlington, Virginia, where we find a pole vaulter extraordinaire. Have you heard about it? Who's in our national penalty box today? Last person I ever thought I'd see there, I'll tell you that. Who? Just one of America's most visible, most beloved, and most distinctive sports broadcasters, that's all. No, not Kathy Lee's husband. I said one of America's most beloved. And besides, Mr. Frank Gifford has been eclipsed by this one, like he wasn't even in the running.
Yeah.
No, as God is my witness, this time it's Marv Albert. Oh, sure, you know him. Voice like yanking a wood rasp out of a hotel key drop slot. Wears those wigs that look like they have to be fed and walked. Does that irritating thing where he hisses the word yes at nearly everything that happens.
Yeah.
Nearly everything except, well, Mueller Maven, except an indictment that accuses Marv of using a 41-year-old gal pal for a chew toy. Say, if you do use your gal pal for a chew toy, does that make her a barker? Page 2.
Shut up.
Hate to admit it, but we really just don't know the rest of this story, do we?
No.
I mean, whatever motivated Marv, if even a shred of this turns out to be true, and for goodness sake, bail jumper, let's not lose sight of this basic precept of our system of jurisprudence. Innocent until proven guilty. Or maybe innocent until proven hungry. In this episode, I just don't know. Did they forget to put the fruit basket in Ritz-Carlton's room number 1002? Did Mr. Albert lose patience, waiting for an order of baby back ribs, and so start in on his baby's back and ribs? What in the world causes a fella to start eating his date? Don't answer that. I withdraw the question, Your Honor. Poorly phrased. Page 3. Say, you know, I can't recall any period in our history quite like this one, can you? In the past 15 minutes, Mike Kennedy laid the babysitter. Frank Gifford, father of Mike's wife of all things, laid a former fly gal. Kelly Flynn, current fly gal who's about to become a former fly gal, broke formation with a married fella and is down in flames. And now, Marv Albert? I mean, goodness gracious, what next? Some sort of sex suit at the Supreme Court naming the President of the United States? Paul Harvey. Good day.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, go! Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. Now they all begin to look like movie stars. Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, it puts a glow on every face of the fallen angels. Now the Backstreet Boys, the fallen angels. Now those Backstreet Boys.
Bill from Mickey Gilling. Hey, let me tell you about the President of the United States, Bill Clinton. Take a walk on the wild.
Read a little item about Michael Kennedy, who ain't exactly the model for celibacy. Though his uncle treats a car like a submarine, he never dunked a girl under 17. Mike said, "Hey, Ted, take a walk on the child side." He said, "Uncle, try the juvenile side." Then there's a story about Mikey's brother, Joe, whose ex-wife thinks he's an evil so-and-so. He says with married life starts to get dull, just find another babe, get the Pope to annul. He said, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the goodbye side. Get lost, babe. Here's a kick for your backside." And the Kennedy girls sing. Frank Gifford, the philandering husband to Kathy Lee, went cruising by himself for an extramarital spree. Right in the middle of hidden camera week, Giff showed up in a video, even Regis freaked. "Hey, Giff, you walking on the senile side. Better get used to being on that exile side." Then there was that B-52 pilot. Took the military code about adultery and defiled it. It says you face court-martial if you act like a whore. She never should have opened up her Bombay doors. Hey, babe, there goes your fly-by side. Hey, Lieutenant, better zip up that fly side, 'cause way back when I was the governor, wasn't happy unless I had a babe and I was loving her. Baby days around my knees, asked Paula to kiss it, I even said please. I said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey sugar babe, walk on that testify side, Monocanese go. Do it, 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 do it. Well, you're not gonna do it? Well, let me blow this.
Bill Clinton here, the Imus Morning Program. Hard. 9 minutes now till the hour. John Kennedy, who is the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Talking with Willie Nelson. Harlan Howard said that he got 3 songs out of, every time he got married, he got 3 songs. And every time he got divorced, he got 3 more, so.
He said, the next time I think about getting married, I'm just going to find me some gal I don't like too well and buy her a house.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Well, he always gets asked about the, it's 1997, and he still gets asked about smoking dope. And then we had Dr. Andrew Weil here the other day, who, but now we find out that dope makes people feel better who are sick, you know, and. Yeah. And, medicinal value. But we could have told him that it makes you feel good.
Sick or not.
Whether you're sick or not.
Why do you have to wait till you get sick to feel good? It's called preventive medicine.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
When it comes.
Chief of George Magazine. Well, what are we talking about? Tabloid journalism?
Yeah, tabloid journalism.
Well, how do you? I mean, is there a day goes by that somebody's not taking your photograph?
Yeah,
today. You're generally treated pretty well, don't you think, or do you? I mean, you.
Yeah, I have no complaints. I mean, I've had my knocks. I had a couple of music rounds with the bar exam, and I took my knocks.
I mean, people made fun of you for not passing the bar. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
And everybody's asked if you're going to run for office, and I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't. Is it ever in your mind, or?
I think you really have to have an animating idea to run for office more than anything. Otherwise,
yeah, but I mean, think how great is this? A Kennedy running for office.
Think how much fun you'd have.
Not having to address a scandal. I mean.
Well, there's time.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Yeah, Imus in the morning. In your shorts, 2020 sports.
Now Brian Williams. Back outside the curve. Skip to Scotty. Gets the ball.
Great pass from Steve Kerr over the top.
Steve on the money with a lob, and Pippen a ton in the air to pound it down.
Chicago Bulls win again. Good morning. Mike Breen with Sports. Neil Funk and Derek Dickey the call on WMVP in Chicago. Lowest scoring game in NBA playoff history. Bulls defeat the Miami Heat 75-68. Lead the series 2-0. Heat center Alonzo Mourning spoke afterwards.
I'll just sum it up for you. They have given us so many opportunities to win. It's ridiculous. And we just haven't taken advantage of it at all. We just haven't.
Next 2 games will be in Miami. Game 3 tomorrow at Miami Arena. One other NBA note, Bill Fitch, the head coach of the LA Clippers, has been given a contract extension for the next 2 years. Clippers made the playoffs this year. NHL playoffs last night. Detroit Red Wings blanked the Colorado Avalanche 6-0. Red Wings now lead that best-of-7 series 3-1. Mike Vernon, the shutout, he had 19 saves. From golf, the PGA Colonial, Brad Faxon, a 7-under 63 in the first round. Tiger Woods is 4 strokes back. He shot a 3-under 67. From baseball last night, Mets, another win. They beat the Phillies in Philadelphia 10-3. Bobby Jones not only won his 8th, but he had 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Padres beat the Dodgers 4-1. Giants topped the Colorado Rockies 7-2. Pittsburgh over Montreal 9-3. Over in the American League, Yanks losing in the afternoon to the Red Sox 8-2. Cleveland topped 30 minutes after the hour, and I'm
Headline issues of the day. Imus in Washington's senior political analyst, the late Richard M. Nixon.
Yes, and thank you very much indeed. Imus in the morning for permitting me to participate in your very fine program once again. Well, anything new? Has Marv taken that next step and barbecued some hotel maid or anything? Huh? And look at this. I put a hairpiece on a set of those wind-up chatter teeth. You know what I call it?
No.
Yes! Actually, though, I have great sympathy for Mr. Albert because I'm very familiar with his distress.
From the standpoint of being in trouble?
No, from the standpoint of being bitten. Pat was into that, you know. Used to do it all the time during our intimacy periods.
She would bite you.
Oh, like a piranha. In fact, beforehand, to set the mood, you know, where most people might put on Rebel's Bolero, I'd put on Spielberg's Jaws. And then here would come old wood chipper snarling like a Rottweiler.
Pat Nixon, snarled like a Rottweiler.
Oh, very passionate woman beneath that cool facade now. Right. But you shouldn't be so surprised. I mean, who the heck would ever have figured Marv Albert for a steak tartare guy, huh? Jesus, he's phonier than I was, if that's possible. Wow. Okay, let's cover quickly the other current events that fall under this general heading. There's Lieutenant Kelly Flynn, the B-52 babe accused of grabbing the wrong joystick, as you know. Now, the most startling thing in my view to emerge from this case is the fact that Kate Moss is the Secretary of the Air Force and is calling herself Sheila Windall.
No.
I mean, have you seen Dr. Windall? Well, for crying out loud, Sheila, you should eat somebody. Oh, and by the way, dude, why are we so concerned about the sexual morality of a woman who's expressed her willingness to drop a nuclear bomb on a city? I don't get it. Quickly now to our other sportscaster of note, Mr. Gifford, and his cloyingly repellent wife, Kathy Lee. Yeah. One wonders if they'll do another infomercial on their flawless marriage. Little update entitled, The Bitch Set Me Up. By the way, who is Frank's plastic surgeon? Jesus, they've now got him stretched so tight he looks like he's been shrink-wrapped. All right, last item in what's sort of an all-sports interlude here. Tiger Woods, may he choke on fried chicken and collard greens. Is this kid wearing you out? Yeah. If there's a God, JD, we'll find out that the other guy Marv had invited to his room for the threesome was Tiger. Perfect trio, huh? One whore and two boars. And if you think that's too tough a description of Gift's babe, what do you call a person who engages in sexual conduct with another person for a fee? In this case, $75,000 from a bottom-feeding tattle rag called the Globe. Case closed. Oh, and speaking of cases closed, now Ken Starr is not going to indict Hillary. Two questions. Is he ever going to indict anybody at that damn Clinton White House? Well, and how come I couldn't have had this moron investigating me? Because if he had, then even though dead, I might still very well be the President of the United States.
My hobbies in life, what? Sex, money, and murder. From your bitch. Run up, money from the crack. Death is a fact. Murder is a hobby. Murder is a hobby. Murder is a hobby that I have since way. I live this is the way I live. Pain and torture. Believe in life. Sex, money, and Imus in the morning.
Well, you should, folks. The nightmare continues. But there is there's a report in the New York Times that some executives of CBS are going to try to prevail on Michael Jordan to reverse his decision involving Mel Karmazin, and I would... Civil War! I mean, you can either take my advice or not, but I would just simply say I would rethink that. Okay. That's all. Just chill out and sleep on it. Yeah. For 24 hours. It's a letter in the drawer thing. Yeah. You know. You have this nice long weekend coming up. You got this entire weekend to think to think what you want to do with your life. Ruin it, or it's entirely up to you. Yep. It's 4 minutes till the hour.
Imus in the morning.
This is as bizarre as anything else that's happened in this whole O.J. Simpson case. Roger Williams, the pianist, he did offer to play for the jury, and so
Williams expects he'll be blindfolded, I-Man, when he's taken to this mystery hotel location where the jurors are staying.
And now live from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the owner and operator of the Auto Body Express, Fred Imus. Good morning, Fred.
Well, if they get Ray Charles to play for him, then they wouldn't have to blindfold anybody.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
You have your satellite up yet?
Yeah, I can hear the show.
Yeah.
But it's broadcast quality.
What else is new with you?
Nothing.
Is that what we had, blindfold Ray Charles, and that was basically it?
Yeah, now you can listen and hear how you kill us.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
You know, one of the callers, like Antoine from the Bronx.
Antoine in the Bronx. Antoine, how are you?
Hey, yo, Joe Benigno, man. What's up, man?
What's up, baby?
Long time listener, man. Yo, turn the radio down on the air, man. What's up, Joe? Do you know why I'm upset, man?
Why are you upset?
Yo, in a melting pot here, we call New York. We can't get a black coaches, no black quarterbacks, no black pitchers, no black nothing, man. What's up with that? You got to get a brother in there for the big brothers, you know what I'm saying? Don't cut me off because I'm black, you know what I'm saying?
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
I hear you speaking on a lot of hockey issues, too, you know what I'm saying? I don't like hockey, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's your prerogative.
You know, because in hockey, the only thing black is the puck, and they be smacking that around.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
How you doing?
I'm the biggest fan. I want to be just like you.
Oh, Rob, shut up.
God,
What the hell are you trying to of balls.
This summer I worked at a copper mine. I hung off a boxcar 20 hours a day. I have over 1,500 Vermont teddy bears. The only music I listen to is Albert and Kinky. I have a cowboy hat just like you. I love you. I meant you rule. I called Larry King once when he was interviewing somebody important. I said, what does your guest think about Don Imus's penis? You're great. I want to do a dramatic reading, okay?
A dramatic reading.
From Catherine Array. The mark of the immature man is that he wants to die nobly for a cause, while the mark of the mature man is that he wants to live humbly for one. I'm going to die nobly for a cause, I meant. Does that make me immature?
Well, I
love you, I meant.
Sure you do.
I want to be just like you. All I eat is blimpy subs. And Fred's hot stuff, I shave it in the Rocco. I pee in every phone booth I see. I want to be just like you, I meant. Shut up, get up.
A one, two, three, go!
Mickey, how the girls all get prettier at closing time. How they all begin to look like movie stars. How the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, it puts a glow on every face of the fallen angels. On the backstreet boys, the fallen angels. On those backstreet
Imus in the morning. Okay.
Lord Almighty, ain't that a little surprising? ATM's got a tank coming through the front door. Looks like the end of the Davidian philosophizing. Yeah, and after 51 days, I guess they just couldn't take it anymore. And now the situation is dire. We're surrounded by barbed wire. Should have surrendered to the FBI. Burning nuts. All right. I never should have come here to Waco. I should have stayed back in Tulsa and joined the family of men. Yeah. We must be on TV. I think I just saw Charlie J. go. Yeah. Smile for the camera, everybody, we're on CNN. And I can tell from the way he perspires that this Dave Koresh is a liar. And he ain't no damn messiah, he's a burning nut. Burning nuts. 25 wives, that Koresh, he was some Valentino. I guess the women just love that weird vacant look in his eye. Yeah. But get out your zippos, cause I think that I hear Janet Reno. Yeah. Let's all bend over and kiss our own asses goodbye. Goodbye, dude. I can hear that heavenly choir as we ignite our funeral pyre. Let's set ourselves on fire, a burning nuts. A burning nuts. Burning nuts. We're just a bunker full of burning nuts. A bunker full of burning nuts. A bunker full of burning nuts. A bunker full of burning nuts.
Ma Baba getting caught in a full court press. Snoop got the entire play-by-play. About the foul shot taken in Arlington, VA. It's a courtside courtroom drama. Sports cancer undertaking, thinking he was Jeffrey Dahmer, like a whack Mac daddy smoking crack. Mob must have flipped his wig, but denies a bite attack. Made a statement, didn't take questions. I would have asked him in back meat, gave him indigestion. Never really thought it was right for Mob to double dribble on his wife. Cause her bark could not be worse than his bite. May have to reset his shot clock for 5 years to life. One thing he must remember, if they put him away, was never gonna let him wear his favorite toupee. Yo, Marvin, you can't be fighting on women, boy. You ain't even had all your shots. But if you like this,
is coming to your town with his brother. And once this deal sells, Fred's gonna hump another. Ain't gonna be your average book signing. Cause on this one you'll hear two Imuses whining. Fans all lining up getting damp. While Don and Fred complain, they getting writer's cramp. Cashing in on his media clout. So there really ain't no shadow of a doubt. It's a bestseller, else he gonna pout. So buy the book, wait a line, let him sign, then get out. Yo, where's Fred at? Having another cigarette? Yo, Freddie, I've been waiting on line 14 hours to get your autograph, boy. How many times you gotta go to the bathroom? Yo, you gonna be camping out overnight at your bookstore. You don't start signing these damn books.
Snoop here in the I'm So In program. Pretty lame, but that's what we have.
Defeated the 6-0 after beating Penn 89-62. Many Villanova alums at the game, including Deidre Coleman, the wife of Don Imus. Ms. Coleman, in a halftime interview, said it was love at first sight with the I-Man. She even remembers her first words to the I-Man.
Grandpa, can I marry you?
And the rest, of course, is history.
Yeah, baby. Look at my candy cane friend. A little Donkey Kong.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
All right, what about the I-Bears?
The I-Bears are good. Call them Vermont Teddy Bear people. I wouldn't. Here's the thing. If we were going to do a teddy bear, I wouldn't do it except with them.
The I-Bear come with a wrinkle up old butt on it?
No, but we have one where we pull all the hair.
But not a McGirt bear. If your radio sounds funny in the morning.
In the morning.
Idiot.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Smokey just killed earlier this morning by Miss McNichol that she is dating more than one person, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, do either one of them think that they're the one? They're exclusive. Yeah.
I don't think we're having that conversation, so.
Is either one, shall we say, further along than another?
Oh, what do you mean, Mike?
Is one, say, on first base and the other headed home?
You choking up on somebody's back.
Round the third.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Is anybody on second base?
Maybe.
Somebody's on second base.
Maybe someone's on second.
Is anybody on third base?
No one's on third.
No one's
on third, and no
Anybody on the mound?
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
New York about the Knicks losing? Is that still a big topic?
You know, what a joke that is. And Patrick Ewing and these people complaining how they got robbed. What's the matter with these people?
My feeling about all of that is that, who died and made Patrick Ewing into Gandhi? I mean, all I heard about was Patrick Ewing, the peacemaker.
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
Everybody says Kasparov, and we say Kasparov.
Yeah, I say Kasparov, too, because if he's going to live in America, get an American pronunciation.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Anglicize it. So it was a real big deal, and I think that now, every time the guy passes a Radio Shack, he gets really nervous. and he says he wants a rematch, but I'm assuming, what happens is it's like when Tyson beats you up, you don't get a rematch with Tyson right away. You have to beat somebody first. He's got to go beat a toaster oven first.
In the morning.
That's right, huh?
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
All right, let me talk to you about Meet the Press. The Washington Bureau Chief NBC News is here, and Waylon on the I-Man.
You predicted, you guaranteed the New England Patriots would win the Super Bowl.
Yes, I did.
You never went on the air after that and said, I was wrong. This is it.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations
to the Green Bay Packers.
To the Green Bay Packers.
And the Cheeseheads.
And the Cheeseheads.
And when you're my age.
And when you're my age.
You like cheese.
You like cheese.
It's easy to chew.
It's easy to chew.
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
Once we started broadcasting the President of the United States, you cannot interrupt for a verdict. You can do a crawl under the screen.
You know, Rob Bartlett had a great line that if you guys on NBC had just run a crawl guilty, a lot of people would have wondered who they were talking about. Well, it was O.J. or the president.
Uh-oh, Ken Starr's in.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Don McKenna, technically, great rock and roll disc jockey. I mean, others, but those are the ones off the top of my head. But Scotzo is a great influence here in New York.
Certainly so.
Playing them Beatle records and talking to John Lennon and Yoko Ono and wearing us out with it.
Absolutely.
So, and he celebrates, he's on WNEW-FM here in New York, and he performs essays on the Imus in the Morning program occasionally that we write for him, believe me. And here he is now, Scott Haney. Good morning, Scotzo. Scotzo.
So, Yoko and I are sitting in the basement doing a four-way hit of Blotter Acid, and how you doing, Dono?
Fine. Congratulations, Scotzo.
30 years. 30 years. Well, at least I'm not going on and on about Charlie Tree.
No, you're not.
You know, you're acting like you never got a manila envelope filled with cash. Remember the old days in the parking lot in the Burger King bag?
Shut up.
Everyone wonders how Billy Don't Be a Hero ever got to be ahead. Why don't you answer that question, radio boy? You know, I love when you play those Eagle records that say, oh, I played that one was a hit. You played Green Sleeves when it was a hit.
Well, just trying to help out my friends at the record companies, you know?
Yeah. You know, there's an apartment available to Dakota.
Well, I understand that. Yeah.
Think about it.
We had a thing going on. It was probably wrong to show her my schlong, but it's too late now. I flashed her my meat in a hotel suite way back when in Little Rock. Took a chance when I dropped my pants. Them trailer park trollops, they make my knees knock. Me and Paula Corbin Jones. Paula Jones, Paula Jones. We got a case coming on. I was pretty hard up, but now I got to interrupt her due process now. I gotta be out of office before she can testify. But if the court denies me my immunity, then Hillary will most certainly crucify me and Paula Corbin Jones. Paula Jones, Paula Jones, Paula Jones, Paula Jones, Paula Jones. We had a thing going on. Hey, Paula, how about you drop the charges for me, baby? I'll apologize. We'll let bygones be bygones. 'Cause you know, and I know, and they know what we know. So let go, and I'll show you all the respect you deserve. Maybe.
The President of the United States, Bill Clinton, here on the Imus Morning program. It's 10 minutes after the hour. Well, we invited Bob Bennett.
Stockton against Maloney the other way. Quick drive in for the right scoop. Timeout, Houston.
Jazz holds serve to beat the Rockets. Good morning. Mike Greenwood Sports. Jim Durham the call. ESPN Radio. Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Jazz winning 96-91. Take a 3-2 lead in the series. Karl Malone, 29 points, and he held Charles Barkley to just 10. Barkley had this to say after his dismal performance.
I feel like this, honestly, is the best game we played this entire series.
Well, they're still down 3-2. As to what the Rockets need to do now, Mario Elie put it best.
Hey, it's back against the wall. You can't lose no games right now. It's either golf clubs or Chicago or go to Chicago.
So either golf or Chicago.
That's a caddy, huh?
That'll be fine.
French Open tennis.
Well, all of the teams have won when they played at home in this one.
That's right. Home team 5-0 in the series.
So they go back to Houston now.
Exactly.
At the Summit. But we could look for a game 7 in
which would be rather exciting.
Seattle, right?
Yeah. No, we usually play in Utah, the Jazz. Sometimes they've played home games in Seattle, but most of the games in Utah.
I'm thinking about Seattle because we just went on in Everett, Washington.
Yes, well, that explains
Seattle.
it. Sure. Really?
So we're rooting for Houston.
We are.
We're not on in Utah, are we?
No.
Okay.
Certainly.
You sure? I thought we were.
What stage is that in?
Maybe someplace we're in. We'll check and see if we're on in Utah, then we'll have to make a decision. But
we'll adjust that.
I would suspect we would be rooting for the Rockets anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Because Carmelo is just such a jerk.
There you go. Why this hatred's for the mailman?
He doesn't deliver for the I-Man.
Fred Job return to sender.
Doesn't ring my bell.
Fred Job in tennis. Some big-name losers yesterday. Men's fourth seed Goran Ivanisevic. He lost to Magnus Gustafsson. And Jim Courier losing to Magnus Larsson. Courier's game sinking fast. He was unseeded in the tournament and now loses in the first round.
Good. Get out.
For the women, top seed Martina Hingis coming back from that injury when she fell off the horsey. She advanced to the second round, and she was delighted.
I was pretty nervous about the first match because
Please get out.
She's a little cutie pie.
Sick of her already.
It's like blowing up your wife.
Well, that'll be fine.
In the Indianapolis 500, winner was Aria Lyondike. His second Indy victory.
Might be on top of things here.
In a very tough field, Scott Goodyear finished second. Paul Newman was third, and Jason Priestley fourth. Very difficult for these drivers on a tough track. Goodyear was upset with another second-place finish.
I guess I'm still in just disbelief. There's no emotion to it because you can't have emotion when you're pissed off.
Oh, you suck. And we'll thank you for refrain from the vile language on the Imus program.
Scott. And also in baseball yesterday, Atlanta beat San Diego 9-2. Kenny Lofton had an inside-the-park home run. That's the 47th inside-the-park home run in the last 2 days in the major leagues. And that's sports. I'm Mike Breen.
It's 28 after the hour, and I am Imus One. But we got a complaint about my language on this program from the president of Multimedia Cablevision.
Advice of counsel that we haven't even asked him, but
yeah. Maybe when his next book comes out, I'd love to, but I have a jail sentence to serve. Then we can get him on.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Well, I did ask Officer Bell if during the mugshot he'd have to take off his rug.
Why do people wear those things, I wonder?
I don't know, but you and Bernie ought to look into it.
Hey, apparently got this babe up to the hotel room with him.
It worked for him, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about that, you know?
He didn't have to inflate her, if you know what I'm saying.
He didn't have to inflate her, pay her. I'll tell you one thing. You can say all you want about them inflatable dolls, but they never go to the police.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN. Imus in the morning.
Imus in the morning, 2024 rolls on.
Harp turns around. Everybody's standing now. Long way high post. Luke Cole shovel back to Harper. Off the screen, fires the three. Score! Bring it up, Harp. Harp with a big play. 91-78.
Bulls eliminate the Heat. Good morning, Mike Breen with sports. Neil Funk the call, WMVP Radio. Chicago Bulls back in the NBA Finals for the 5th time in 7 years. They win the Eastern Conference Final in 5 games, knocking out the Heat last night, 187. Michael Jordan led the way with 28 points and then took a slap at Heat coach Pat Riley afterwards.
It gives me great pleasure to make sure he's denied. You know, and I'm pretty sure it gives him great pleasure to always keep facing us. You know, even though he was getting the short end of the stick.
Jordan taking his little jabs at Riles.
America's team, baby. How come Scottie Pippen didn't play?
He injured his foot, sprained foot in the first couple of minutes.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that knot on his head he had? How'd he get that?
He get that from a Zoe elbow.
Oh, okay.
Fill up a library school.
So is that why Michael Jordan said this stick game is personal?
Yes.
Okay, because Zoe elbowed Scottie Pippen.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And also because of comments Riley said about Jordan.
Now, the Miami Heat's a lousy team, no?
That's right.
They suck.
Absolutely.
The Knicks, it would have been, with the Knicks, it would have been, if the Knicks weren't idiots.
It would have been entertaining.
It would have been a much better series.
Right.
But that didn't happen.
No, this gets us nowhere.
No, the Knicks didn't get it done.
No.
Did it?
No.
Because they're stupid.
Knuckle-dragging nitwits.
Everybody involved with that organization are morons. Including their announcers.
Alonzo Mourning had another tough night. Just 13 points for Zoe in his final game of the season.
Oh, great.
Zoe had an interesting take on the series.
I like to play it all over again. I like to start the series from scratch again, you know, because I know that we can play a whole lot better. And I like to go back to game one because I know that it would have definitely been a different outcome.
Get out. Just get out.
Click your heels 2 times and think real hard.
What's wrong with you?
Maybe it'll happen.
Jesus, we're not in Kansas, stupid. Get out. You're not
not going to play anything.
I wish it was game one. I wish it was game one again.
Oh, well, okay. God almighty. What is he thinking about?
Nothing.
Clearly nothing.
Nothing.
Bulls now play either the Jazz or the Rockets. Those two teams play tonight in Houston. Jazz win, series over. Rockets win, series not over.
Yeah.
Jazz lose, series not over. Rockets lose, series over. Jazz emerge victorious, series over. Rockets emerge victorious, series not over.
That'll be
Jazz failed to come out on top, series not over. Rockets failed to come up.
Somebody tackle him.
French Open tennis, match of the day. Two of tennis's bad boys, two of the most hated players on the tour. Fifth-seeded Thomas Muster against unseeded Jeff Tarango. During the match, they taunt each other. Tarango mimics and mocks Muster. At one point, he serves underhanded.
Yeah.
Muster wins in 4 sets, walks straight to the umpire's chair, will not shake Tarango's hand, so Tarango tries to come over and shake his hand. Muster says, get away from me.
Yeah, all right. Good.
Pleasant sight.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
Kids' Day at Roland Garros. They gave school children about 8,000 tickets to come watch the players
That's
play.
great. Well, fine.
In golf, PGA Memorial begins today in Ohio. Features the return of John Daly, his first tour event since he checked himself into the Betty Ford Clinic back in March.
Wow.
Also, Tiger Woods will play in this tournament, as will Jack Nicklaus, who designed the course and no doubt will shoot about at 85. That's sports. I might bring
It's coming up in 29 minutes after the hour, and